Alright, Transformation Vlog episode 2. We are here. How's it going, everybody? I am back and here for a very special episode. Honestly, it says episode, but I don't know how I'm going to do it when it's like those 2-minute long checkups where I'm like showing you what I'm eating or like, hey, going to the gym. I don't know if I'm going to call it an episode or not at that point. But we'll just see how it goes. Maybe I'll just rename the video later or something. Figure that out later. But today we're going to talk about cystic fibrosis and specifically what it is, so you have a good idea of what I'm dealing with. It's going to be very informational, and so I hope you are ready for that. It'll be a good little bit of reading, but I think we can make it through. And so, like I said, I'm going to tell you guys, give you an idea of what cystic fibrosis actually is, according to the medical world and medical sciences. And then I'm also going to tell you what cystic fibrosis has been to me in my life. And so let's get started. First off, I want to let you guys know the source of this one. You can check it out if you want. I'll put it also in the description box below so you can check out the websites. So I'm going to be reading what CF is according to the National Heart, Blood, and Lung Institute, which is a part of the overarching National Institute of Health. And so it's the NHBLI, and then the National Institute of Health is the NIH. So the website is essentially those acronyms so it's like nhbli.nih.gov. And so I'm going to be reading what cystic fibrosis is according to them first. So, what is cystic fibrosis? Cystic fibrosis, or CF, is an inherited disease of the secretory glands. I'm going to call it secretory. Secretory glands include glands that make mucus and sweat. Inherited means the disease is passed from parents to children through genes. People who have CF inherit 2 faulty genes for the disease, one from each parent. The parents don't likely have the disease themselves. CF mainly affects the lungs, pancreas, liver, intestines, sinuses, and sex organs. That was actually new to me, but we'll get into that later as well. Overview. Mucus is a substance made by tissues that line some organs and body cavities, such as the lungs and nose. Normally, mucus is a slippery, watery substance. It keeps the lining of certain organs moist and prevents them from drying out or getting infected. If you have CF, your mucus becomes thick and sticky. It builds up in your lungs and blocks your airways. Airways are tubes that carry air in and out of your lungs. The buildup of mucus makes it easy for bacteria to grow. This leads to repeated serious lung infections. Over time, these infections can severely damage your lungs. The thick, sticky mucus also can block tubes or ducts if you're in your pancreas, an organ in your abdomen. As a result, the digestive enzymes that your pancreas make can't reach your small intestines. These enzymes help break down food. Without them, your intestines can't fully absorb fats and proteins. This can cause vitamin deficiency and malnutrition because nutrients pass through your body without being used. You also have bulky stools, intestinal gas, a swollen belly from severe constipation and pain or discomfort. CF also causes your sweat to become very salty. And let me just say this, because I know some of this stuff is graphic. Some of it's as bad as it sounds, some of it's not as bad as it sounds. There's been many medical breakthroughs that have made a lot of these things kind of a non-factor at this point. So these are just like what's happening. So it's not necessarily, this isn't necessarily including what's been done about this so that it doesn't happen. But these are all, occurrences that happen in all of our bodies, and that, not necessarily this, but this is talking about the things that should happen and the things that don't because of this situation. So I will start, at the beginning of that paragraph. These enzymes help break down food. Without them, your intestines can't fully absorb fats and proteins. This can cause vitamin deficiency and malnutrition because nutrients pass through the body without being used. You also may have bulky stools, intestinal gas, a swollen belly from severe constipation and pain or discomfort. CF also causes your sweat to become very salty. Thus, when you sweat, you lose large amounts of salt. This can upset the balance of minerals in your blood and cause many health problems. Examples of these problems include dehydration, a lack of fluid in your body, increased heart rate, fatigue, tiredness, weakness, decreased blood pressure, heat stroke, and rarely death. If you or your child has CF, you're also at high risk for diabetes, which is another interesting thing that I wanted to bring up, or two bone thinning conditions called osteoporosis or osteopenia. CF also causes infertility in men, and the disease can make it harder for women to get pregnant. The term infertility refers to the inability to have children. I just wanted to address that right now. So I personally have never heard of that. I can only go off the one example that I know. So the one thing that I always knew myself personally about cystic fibrosis, well, not so much knew, but was an idea in my head and had been talked about, was the fact that if I had children, would they have it? I can only go off the one example that I know of and just the concept of how cystic fibrosis is. So normally, the way it works is, and I believe it talks about it later in this article, two parents have to be carrying the gene at the same time during the time of conception. So that specific gene has to be happening at the same time with both people. So it's not like this thing that just happens. Because out of the 3 children that my parents had, 2 of us got it, 1 of us did not. So it's not always going to be like, oh yeah, and neither one of my parents had CF. Now, I have a friend, she has cystic fibrosis. She had a baby. The baby did not end up with cystic fibrosis, thank God. So these are the examples that I can go off of and say for sure that the possibility, that's definitely like a kind of chance-ish type situation. How high the probability is, I have no idea. You have people born with autism every day, but at the same time, you have people born who don't have autism or cerebral palsy or cystic fibrosis or, just all these other things. So it's kind of like, I don't know the exact percentage, but I just know that it's not something that I've seen as of yet to be a problem as far as just reproduction and fertility. So, outlook. And I think this is kind of like where they just wrap it all up. The symptoms and severity of CF vary. If you or your child has a disease, you may have serious lung and digestive problems. If the disease is mild, symptoms may not show up until teen or adult years. The symptoms and severity of CF also vary over time. Sometimes you'll have few symptoms. Other times, your symptoms may become more severe. As the disease gets worse, you'll have more severe symptoms more often. Lung functions often start to decline in early childhood in people who have CF. Over time, damage to the lungs can cause severe breathing problems. Respiratory failure is the most common cause of death in people who have CF. As treatments for CF continue to improve, so does life expectancy for those who have the disease. Today, some people who have CF are living into their 40s, 50s, or longer. Early treatment for CF can improve your quality of life. Also, I know that there's a while back, there was a guy who was 70 and still kicking, who had CF. So, lots of different things. And once again, one of the things that we're going to be talking about in this vlog about quality of life and just a lot of things that actually they don't tell you that can improve your quality of life. They won't tell you this stuff like off bat. As treatment for CF continue to improve, so is life expectancy. Okay. Early treatment for CF can improve your quality of life and increase your lifespan. Treatments may include nutritional, respiratory therapies, medicines, exercise, and other treatments. Your doctor also may recommend pulmonary rehabilitation. PR is a broad program that helps improve the well-being of people who have chronic, ongoing breathing problems. Okay, we are done with the reading. That took some time, but hopefully you learned something. And now we can go to my personal experience. So, my personal experience with cystic fibrosis has been, before I say that, one other website, which will also be in the box below, is the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, cff.org. They have a lot of good information as far as that's concerned as well. So, my personal experience with cystic fibrosis has been a very interesting one. Interesting just because of the fact, if you haven't noticed, I'm black. Well, African American. My hair's sort of black. But I'm African American. And it didn't say it in this one, but in all reality, I think this has been edited. Because on this same PubMed, which is essentially what that was, PubMed, I believe Pub Health, there was definitely statements concerning the fact that this was a predominant now. I'm not saying it's only, but it was predominantly found in Caucasians, meaning it was rare to see it in someone of African American descent. Now, mind you, I definitely have white Caucasian in my lineage. Not too far back, actually. My grandmother's grandmother was white and Indian, and kind of goes from there. So maybe that played a part. Who knows? Not so much on the other side of the family that I know of, but I know definitely on my mother's side there was some Caucasian. So that might have played a part. But the fact that I was African American, and not just myself, but my little sister as well, both of us were two African Americans that had cystic fibrosis, and that was very not common. Every CF patient I've seen in my entire lifetime to this point has been Caucasian. I've never seen another person of another race who had CF who was not Caucasian. So when I do, that'll be an interesting day. But for that being said, even still, the situation was still the same. I had cystic fibrosis. For the most part, I would say, and I'm not going to give my entire life story right now, but I'm just saying that it has definitely caused struggles, held me back in some things that I would have preferred to go further in. For one quick example, sports. I wasn't really allowed to play like heavy duty sports when I was younger because cystic fibrosis was still a new thing, and my mother was learning about it, and so she didn't want to take the risk of, I have this fragile little son, and he has problems with his lungs. It's like asthma, but worse. So I don't think it would be a good idea to be putting him out there. We're in a situation where he can get hit and things like that. So no football. Basketball, same situation where I was like running back and forth in the court, and the concept of suicides and just things like that. So even like track, which was probably looked at as like one of the worst things, which actually would have been the best thing, and I had wished I did it when I was younger. But we live, we learn, we grow. So that that's kind of always been a thing. Hospital visits were always a thing. Very often, 3 to 4 times a year, I would have a visit, just like a checkup. But turns out I might end up in the hospital having to stay there maybe once, twice at most a year. And there was a time in my life where I actually didn't go to the hospital for like 5 years in a row, which was a good thing. But then life happened, and then college happened, and that was just crazy. Like, everybody and their mother smoked weed, basically. And so when I come saying, hey, can you not smoke weed in the suite? It was just like, nah, bro. So basically, because of that, it ended up putting me in harm's way, and I ended up having to go to the hospital. So my college years were definitely not the best for my health. Now that I'm, out of college and moving forward, I am in a situation where I can control my health. And for that, I'm grateful. And so I wanted to basically kind of give you guys an idea of just some of the things that I've been able to do and the benefits of them. So since I've gone vegan, right, and all the issues that cystic fibrosis, like I said, I haven't gone through a life story. Maybe I'll do that some other vlog. But particularly all the things that it's affected, like I said, health, meaning like my weight. It's hard for me to gain weight, and so what I do is I'll take these pills. Actually, this is the bottle. This is the bottle that the pills come in, and basically I take those pills before I eat. And so when I take those pills, it makes it so that the food that I'm digesting, it goes through normally. So all that stuff you heard about, you know, gas and issues with, you know, using the bathroom and just all that stuff, is like, I don't really have to deal with that. Thank God. Because, you know, those. Now, mind you, there's some other things about the vegan lifestyle that are slowly helping change that to where I might not even need to take those pills anymore. And so that's a cool thing. But I wanted to give you guys some quick facts. So, went to a doctor's appointment in March of this year. So that's March 2017. It was the first Wednesday of March. I had started this whole vegan trip the last Saturday of January. So essentially it was about a month. Yeah. It was a month since that, now mind you, February had like less days and everything. But I believe it was a month before the checkup. And so I was able to give the vegan thing a shot, or naturalist, for lack of a better term. And so the 4 things they did when they checked. They gave me a chest x-ray. They checked my weight. They did a breathing test, which they normally do. And the last thing they did was they checked for diabetes, which is another interesting thing. So the results were the x-ray came back noticeably clearer than it had in October of last year, 2016. My weight went down like 2 points, but like 2 pounds, but it really, like, that wasn't that serious. It was unhealthy weight from the get-go, to be honest. And so then the breathing test, I actually went up by 2 points, which is a great thing. Anytime you go up, it's a great thing, because as you heard, you know, they talk about all this, you know, breaking down of the lungs and just issues that are caused. So they consider it kind of like a slowly declining process. So either you're staying stagnant or you're slowly declining. So going up is always a great thing. And then lastly, they check for diabetes. So I don't even normally eat sweets like that, you know. And I know that sounds, you know, like weird, but I mean, as far as at least I thought, as far as like, you know, candies or sweet pastries or things like that. Now, yeah, I drank juice and different things like that. Ate pancakes with syrup, but I wasn't like an avid sweet eater. I didn't even eat my own birthday cake one year, just because I just don't like sweets. And so I was like, how in the world am I at even like the slightest risk? But it's really interesting. So they talk about, you know, cystic fibrosis, and they talk about how we need to gain a lot of weight, right? Well, the thing about it is they don't consider the fact sometimes what will happen is they'll just give you a number. They'll just be like, you need to be at this weight. I don't care how you get there. I don't care what you need to eat. You just need to be at this weight. And so what ends up happening is you end up eating all this garbage, just straight up garbage. You know, and some of this garbage is the same stuff everybody else is eating, and they would call it good eating, you know? Like I'm eating pancakes and waffles and sausage and eggs and cheeseburgers, chicken sandwiches, french fries, you know, just living it up or whatever. And full dinners, snacks in between, you know, just living like a king. And come to find out, and I was eating vegetables too. I was definitely eating vegetables as well, but it's just, I'm eating all these things and drinking juice all the time and just all this stuff. Now I have a normal sized body. You know, I have the same human body like everybody else has. But they're telling me, and I don't know if you guys know anything about calorie count, that I need to maintain a 5,000 calorie intake a day. So I don't know if you guys saw that Michael Phelps documentary they did a while back where they talked about like how much he ate and things of that nature. I want to say, I'm not 100% certain, I'm sorry, but I want to say it was like 7,000 calories or something like that. Or it might have been 5, but I just know that it was a boatload. And so one day I just calculated it and I was like, how much would I have to actually eat to eat 5,000 calories a day? And it was basically like somewhere around 5 Subway footlongs, like 5, basically 5 meals. So 5 Subway footlongs with the chips and the drink would get me to about 5,000 calories. So that's how much food I would need to intake every single day. What that means is basically eating even when you don't want to eat. Just eating just to eat because you know you need it. And like I said, this is what they wanted us to maintain, still do what they want you to maintain, even though your body is the same as someone else. So somebody, you can take the same height, same, BMI, body mass index, and someone who has cystic fibrosis versus someone who doesn't. This guy has to eat, he just eats normal. Now me, on the other hand, I have to eat what he eats times like 2.5. So basically, all that for the same body size, it's kind of like alcohol, It's like they have that little thing where it's like your height versus your weight will say how much you can actually take. Well, imagine, so this guy, he has his, and I have to 2.5 multiply whatever he can take. And then you wonder why I get drunk or things like that. The same situation. So they wonder why you get, people with cystic fibrosis contract a form of like diabetes. I hope contract is the right word, but develop rather a form of diabetes. Well, it's because they're eating 2.5 times the same amount of food that somebody would have to eat with the normal body, and the stuff that they're eating is garbage. Like 9 times out of 10, I mean, a lot of the food out here is not good for you anyway. So now that you're eating 2.5 times that for your body, it's like you wonder why these things happen. And so, like I said, for me personally, though, I was like, I don't really eat that, crazy like that. I usually go baked. I rarely ever eat burgers and things of that nature. So I was just a little surprised. But anyway, they were talking to me about it, checking about it. So now what happens is, at this meeting particularly, when they checked my A1C levels for diabetes, let's say this is where they want me to be. Like, I want you to be at this level to know that you're not at risk. Because they don't want me to be over it, because then I will be at risk. So this is where mine was. This is where my levels were. Like, down here. Basically so low to the point where the doctor told me she didn't even need to see me the next time I came for an appointment. So these are just some of the benefits. Like I said, weight maintained, my chest X-ray was noticeably clear, lung function test went up, and I dodged the huge bullet of, potentially being at risk for diabetes. Like, you can't argue with results, basically. And so I want to go further with this vlog. And like I said, I know this is a long episode, but this is just, some foundational things that, some building blocks that I want to lay down as I continue and as we continue together so that you guys can see what I'm going through and what I'm having to deal with and then how I'm going to overcome it. So I wanted to give you guys a quick update tonight on one or two things about what's been going on with me thus far. So, present stuff now. I am, like I said, this is a learning process. I said that in the first video. This whole vegan thing is definitely a learning process. Learning to cook vegan. Learning to, just the things that I can and cannot eat. And things of that nature. And so one of the big things I wasn't taking into account was calorie count. I've really never been a calorie counter. I just figured I should probably just try to eat as much as I can. And so this time around with this whole vegan thing, I'm thinking to myself, okay, just eat like normal. Well, what normal is for me. However, because that had been working for me up to this point. However, what I wasn't taking into account was if my normal lunch is a grilled chicken sandwich, French fries, and ginger ale, and I switch my lunch now over to a large salad, a green juice, and an apple, the calorie count isn't the same anymore. So whereas one has this many calories, what I'm eating is still like down here. And so I'm eating similar portions, like amounts of food essentially, but not thinking of the fact that the calorie count isn't the same. So basically, if you continue to do that over a long period of time, the gap between the calorie count is going to get really big. So I say all that to say I lost a considerable amount of weight. A lot more than I wanted to lose. However, and I'll address this in another video as well, that's the whole purpose. I'm trying to start at my low so that I can show you what it looks like to go from my low to a place where I'm comfortable. And I'm not going to say that I'm going to get comfortable, but more so a place where I can say, okay, this is where I should, be, essentially. This is where the area in which I should be living in. And so I'm going to tell you guys the weight, and I'm going to tell you guys what I used to weigh. So what I used to weigh was like 148, 150. Where I want to weigh is between 145 and 150. Where I currently weigh right now is 130. So that's very low. I guess I lose weight really fast if I don't, check it. And normally, like I said, I wasn't having any issues because I finally found the groove for how I used to eat. But now it's different, and it's a learning process, like I said. So I have to now work on eating more often, basically. A lot more often. And I've looked at, different videos and how vegans are able to maintain weight and gain weight and things of that nature. So I'm learning. I'm trying not to break this stride. I don't want to settle and basically say, like, you know what, maybe I should just add some fish in here and there. And maybe I should just, eat like some chicken and some fish and some things like that so that my weight can go back up real quick and then go back to being vegan. I don't want to do that. I'm going to keep this thing rolling, and I'm not going to settle just because things are looking a little bit down. So I am going to make a way to make sure I'm gaining the weight that I'm supposed to with this lifestyle. So, like I said, I look forward to you guys joining me. We're going to wrap this one up because, like I said, I know it was definitely, maybe it was longer than you thought it would be. Maybe it wasn't long enough. But the point is, there's a lot of information that I wanted to share. I believe I got it through, and we can go forward from here. So, like I said earlier, I hope you guys enjoy this journey with me. I hope you learned something from it, definitely. And let's go. So, I'm about to go eat. Well, let me tell you what I ate today. I had, interestingly enough, I found this cereal, and it's supposed to be vegan. I'm checking it out. I don't know how long, if it'll stick or not, but I'm checking it out. So I had the cereal with 2 bananas. Then later today, I had a snack of 1 apple, 2 more bananas. You're going to hear a lot of bananas. Then for lunch, I ate, it was like a medley of quinoa and vegetables and things of that nature. And I poured salsa on that. And then I poured blue corn chips on top of that. And that was my lunch. Then, when I come home, I ate a little bit more cereal, 2 more bananas. Then I drank a green juice that had kale, ginger, cilantro, and apples in it. And then on top of that, I drank another shake that was primarily based on bananas and apples, but also walnuts and pumpkin seeds and steel cut oats, just straight up raw steel cut oats. And that was another shake that I drank. And so I'm about to go eat some sweet potatoes now. So as you can hear, I'm working on, making this a continuous thing, getting my weight up and all that great stuff. So I'll catch you guys on the next one, and I'll give you an update on my weight, as well as, like I said, pretty soon the videos will be a little bit more shorter in nature, just like more updatey, like, hey, like I said, this is what I'm eating, this is where I'm going, blah, 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 etc. So, alright guys, peace and God bless. Bye.